G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/relationship advice. Let's go. Am I the a-hole for leaving a vacation I planned for my girlfriend after her friends came along? So my girlfriend, Sarah 29, and I, M 28, have been dating for 5 years, and I wanted to go on a vacation with her to celebrate. I planned the trip for several months. Of course, I shared my plans with her and decided on skiing, snowboarding, and other winter activities in Colorado. The activities seemed perfect, and I was looking forward to this for months because I wanted to propose to her at the end of the trip. 5 days before the trip, Sarah dropped the ball on me that she invited 2 of her friends to meet her there. I was upset because I wanted to spend one-on-one time with Sarah for our anniversary. I feel like it was plain and clear that this was a trip just for us. Even though I expressed my concerns, Sarah insisted that her friends already made plans to come and won't back out. I decided to accept this because there was no way for me to force her friends to not come, and I wish I fought more on this. I figured we could make some changes to our plans, and I would still be able to propose to her privately. Sarah essentially blew me off for her friends, and we didn't get any private time. After 3 days of being in second place, I decided to leave the trip and head home. I told Sarah why I was leaving, and she was upset. She told her friends about my decision, and I was ganged up on. They said that we were all having a great time. She thinks I'm being a jerk for making her pick between her friends and me, even though her friends weren't invited in the first place. I never had personal issues with her friends prior to this trip. I never made Sarah pick between me or her friends because everyone needs friends outside of a relationship. I'm at home now and thinking about everything. I have a day to myself before Sarah comes home, so at least I get to relax a bit. Sarah and her friends think that I'm overreacting and think that I ruined the trip. I think Sarah was disrespectful and rude to me by ruining the purpose of this trip and having her friends gang up on me. Am I the a-hole for leaving a vacation I planned for my girlfriend after her friends came along? Edit. This was a planned anniversary/romantic trip. I was clear that we have plans for just us two. We've been on other anniversary trips together without her friends there. We did discuss marriage beforehand, so it's not like a proposal wouldn't have been out of the blue. In the comments, not the a-hole. You sure you still want to propose? This. Even if it wasn't a proposal trip, it was so disrespectful of Sarah to basically pull the rug out from under him and get her friends to gang up. To do that to someone you've dated for 5 years? Jeez. I would sit her down and go through the plans you had, including the proposal. Watch the Pikachu face and then tell her that you need time apart to evaluate the relationship. I just hope that she stumbles upon this thread, honestly. I just can't understand why she would think that it was appropriate to invite her friends to a romantic trip, firstly, and secondly, why she didn't run it past OP before doing it. What a selfish, inconsiderate, rude, and ungrateful act. And then once she forced him to accept it, she leaves him out of things in favor for her friends, who then all gang up and gaslight him, accusing him of ruining the holiday. Like, how dare they? I'm glad that he has his friends with him to support and deal with these rude, selfish, ungrateful, gaslighting girls. Then maybe it's best to put the engagement on hold for now and then review the relationship in peace away from her so that you can get a better perspective. So let me get this straight. 1. You spent months planning a vacation for the 2 of you. 2. You paid for said vacation. 3. She invited her friends and didn't tell you until it was too late for them to cancel. And 4. You made requests for alone time and she rebuffed those efforts to hang out as a group with her friends. Buddy, she found the ring and knew your plan for the weekend. Not the a-hole. You might want to consider planning for a different future. I'm betting this too. She didn't want to have to say no. In my opinion, it's time to move on. She invited friends on a romantic getaway without consulting you or considering your feelings. Sad if true. Imagine treating someone you've been with for 5 years this way. She could have grown a spine and broken up with him. Info. Is it possible that she knew you were going to propose and did this intentionally to avoid it? And OP says, this is what worries me. We discussed marriage beforehand and everything seemed great. This was a planned anniversary and romantic trip, so the nature of it was plain and clear. Oh god, not the a-hole, and please dump her. Don't let someone like her hold you back. Back up to the post, we have a minor update. My friends are here at the house and they have been running potential interference, just in case her friends try to bombard and harass me. They've been great and I am so glad to have them. Minor update number 2, none of Sarah's friends came by the house or harassed me yesterday and last night, which is good. Sarah hasn't come home yet. I figured out what I want to say and I have written it out. And now, onto the update. I decided that I wanted to end this entire relationship. I packed my important belongings, example, passport, clothes, and arranged with my best friend to crash at his apartment until I can find my own. Usually when small issues happen in a relationship, it ties into a bigger issue of that relationship. The main reason why I decided to break up is because I realized that her friends will always be closer to her than me. Sarah has favored her friends over me and has blown off some of our plans for her friends more than once. I was lying to myself for years because I didn't want to face reality yet. I had hoped that she would change, but this trip really opened my eyes that I will always be in third place to her. I expressed my feelings multiple times, and Sarah promised that she would change, and she didn't. Sarah came home late yesterday. I said that I have a lot to get off my chest, and I want to get through my notes before she talks or tries to interrupt me. The first question I asked Sarah was how she thought the trip went. She said that we all had fun and it was memorable. I shouldn't have to feel like the third wheel in my own relationship, especially on a trip that I planned. My next question was, why did you invite your friends in the first place? You knew this was an anniversary trip for us. She talked about the trip with her friends since the beginning, and they have never been to Colorado. She thought that it would be a good idea to allow them to come, just so they can have fun in Colorado with us. I followed up with my lack of knowledge of her friends coming along until days before. It's one thing if they came and did their own activities, but it's another thing that every activity became a group activity. I signed up for a monogamous, not poly relationship. My last question was, did you know that I was going to propose to you? Sarah said she didn't know at all. The thought never occurred to Sarah that I was going to ask. She claimed that she wouldn't have invited her friends to come along if she knew, but I responded that it would ruin the surprise if I told you. Sarah begged me to stay with her and believes we can work everything out. She didn't want me to throw 5 years away after this one bad trip. I listened to her promises to change for years regarding her friends, but nothing happened. I ultimately left Sarah with this. It's clear that there isn't enough room in your heart for your boyfriend and your friends. As much as I love Sarah, I can't stay in a relationship where I'm not respected enough. I left Sarah in the house by herself, and I drove off to my friend's place. I'll figure out how to get my name off the lease, and I'll plan to get the rest of my belongings. As for the ring, I will return it this weekend. In the comments, aside from the obvious issues of her behavior, the thing that throws me for the biggest loop is that she didn't immediately follow you home. If my partner had become upset enough that they left our anniversary vacation early, I would have been one step behind them to get home and un-effed whatever mess had been created, even if I thought that they were being unreasonable or dramatic about the whole thing. By staying, she basically said, your emotions and perspectives are not my priority, and they never will be, in her actions. I'm sorry that it came to that, but I'm glad your friend is able to help you out, and you were sticking to your own guns on your decision. Hopefully she learns from it, and if not, hopefully it's a situation you only ever have to encounter once in your life. Exactly this. How are you in a 5-year relationship and let your partner leave a trip upset? She sounds pretty callous. OP says, I had much more information in my post, but the character limit was too high. Part of the reason why she stayed back was because I said that I wanted to go home alone and think. I know that couples shouldn't storm off after a fight, but it was kind of important to separate for a bit to gather my thoughts. Maybe things would have turned out differently if we left together. Even if she stayed to give you the space that you asked for, there is no way I would be able to enjoy the trip after my unhappy partner left. Yet she said, we all had fun, and it was memorable. I think someone commented on your last post that it's clear we didn't include you. 5 years into a relationship, you deserved more consideration. And thanks for the update, and I'm sorry that things ended that way. Wishing you the best. Proud of you for putting your foot down. No one should beg for respect in a relationship. OP replies, I shouldn't have to fight for one-on-one time in a relationship, especially with a serious partner. I left my boyfriend for the same reason. Looking back now, I can only describe him as selfish. You did the right thing for you. Try to enjoy this new chapter. It's going to be fun and a memorable time for sure. OP says, if the tables were turned and I invited my homies, every single person would be against me. You hear stories of friends trying to hang out, and one of them invites their boyfriend to the outing. It sucks that I was put in this position, but I'm glad that it's over. I mean, it's fine to go on trips with groups of friends and for couples to have fun in a larger group, but that's clearly not what you wanted this trip to be, and I think you made that clear enough. Quote, she didn't want me to throw 5 years away after this one bad trip. Ouch. She forgot she was in a relationship with you whilst having the best time with her best friends on a trip planned for her and you. Congrats on stepping up for yourself, dude. May you find someone who truly deserves you. And OP says, I would have hated to waste another 5 years with her too. Too many people give their partners too many chances and end up wasting too much time on them. Exactly this. My therapist has even called me out on this. She told me I'll stay in a relationship until I've given all my love to that person and exhausted myself. It sounds like you left before you exhausted yourself more. Sorry this happened, and I hope for the best for you. OP says, I mainly learned from my aunt. She stayed in a 20-plus year unhappy marriage because she invested so much time in it, had kids with her ex-husband, and she tried to overlook and forgive his actions. I didn't want any of that. She is now much happier. She wished she left years ago because she wasted so much energy on someone who doesn't deserve it. Our next post is titled, My 24 male family caught me being screwed by my boyfriend 25 male. Welp, all I can do right now is find humor in this because it's a weird situation and not something you ever expect to happen to yourself, but I'm coming here to get some advice and ideas on how to mend the situation. Yesterday was my 24th birthday. It's my first birthday out of home as I just got my own place last year. I decided I wanted to spend my birthday alone, aka without the family, and told them that we can go to dinner on the weekend. I wanted to spend my birthday with my boyfriend, just the two of us. It was a great day overall, and me and my boyfriend decided to wind down the night with rough birthday sex. While getting absolutely railed, my family walk into the house, seeing their firstborn and big brother getting used and abused by a mountain of a man. They run off as fast as they can. Birthday is ruined, sex is ruined, family is traumatized, and worst of all, I didn't get to eat the delicious cake that they brought. I have texted and called my parents, but I've got no reply. The only communication I've gotten is a few minutes after the incident was a text from my mother just saying, sorry. I also have not come out to them, so I guess they know now. What would be the best way to handle this? I was thinking probably just give them space and wait for contact from them and then go from there. Is that a good idea or no? In the comments, oh my, I might give it a few days. This is why I hate even when family just drops by. Ask first, because I'm not always available even when I am home. I hope this turns into a funny story that you all can laugh at in a few years. And OP says, oh, it'll definitely become a funny story. That's just how my family is. I know my dad was probably grinning ear to ear after the shock wore off, since now he has another embarrassing story about one of his kids. If you chose to get married, maybe he'll share the how we first met my son-in-law as part of his speech. Life hack, skip coming out conversations with a live demonstration. I think the important part here is that you're hanging on to your sense of humor and that this is on them, not you, for barging in unannounced. I guess they just got a reminder of why an emergency key is not meant to be an all-access pass to the house. Out-of-the-box idea? Show up to their house with a cake that says, "I'm gay," and when they let you in, light up some candles and say, "I'll do the honors." Better be a good frickin' cake, though. OP says, "I'm thinking red velvet." And now, on to the update. So my family and I ended up still going out to dinner that weekend, and I also got to bring my boyfriend. Yay. Dad texted me a while after the incident, breaking the ice with, "Birthday sex good?" But we had to talk about some things, and I ended up apologizing to my mother. Apparently, she was upset that I never told her, but my dad knew. All is good on that front now. Dinner went well. I officially came out during and was able to introduce my boyfriend to my family. Dad was in good humor as always. My mother seemed a bit concerned by my boyfriend's size and kept bringing up how big he was, lol. But overall, she liked him. Edit, I'm talking about how tall and big he was, not his dick, you perverts. Dad and my boyfriend seem to get along well and have a lot in common, so that's terrible. My siblings are also chill about everything and think that my boyfriend is great too. After dinner, we even stayed at my parents' place for the night, and that went quite well. Everything's looking up and there is no unneeded drama. Thanks again for your advice and your good humor. And now in the comments, when my parents walked in on me and my boyfriend, we weren't even having sex, we'd had sex and were just still naked, they backed out and let us get dressed, and then my mum came in and said, "At least we're cool about this stuff," and told us a story about when my dad's mum walked in on them and she lost the rag. When I met my husband, he still lived at home. His mum quickly started knocking and waiting before opening the door to his room. Before, she'd usually just knock and walk in, being a typical stay-at-home mum spoiling her son. She started spoiling me too though, so I didn't mind. Let's just say my parents worked and had 6 kids to his parents having 2 kids and a stay-at-home mum. They're all good parents, but my mum never came into my room without snacks just to make sure I ate. If I was hungry, I knew where the kitchen was. My mother-in-law was helping my wife clean out a closet a few months ago, and when my wife wasn't paying attention, mother-in-law started working on a second closet just because she was in the zone cleaning, I guess, or snooping. Either way, she regretted it immediately when she came across our stash of bondage gear. Wife says she turned bright red and said, "Well, I don't think I need to help with this closet." I couldn't look her in the eye for weeks. I feel like this whole situation is overshadowed by the distinct lack of cake. Where is the cake, man? Where? Jokes aside, I'm really pleased for you and thrilled that despite the mountainous man's size and apparent ability, you all got along well and made good. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys today. I do hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Couch.